Hey guys, this is John Bretza, Director of Product Development for Okuma Fishing Tackle, here to introduce to you one of the most exciting rod introductions Okuma has ever had, which is the SCT Boat Rods. SCT stands for Spiral Carbon Technology, and what that is, we start with a rod blank which utilizes 24-ton carbon construction, where a lot of saltwater rods utilize E-glass. They're not quite as responsive, they're heavy, thicker blank diameters. 24-ton carbon allows us to make the blank diameter smaller, but it's also very responsive. In addition to that, what we've done is we've put together a spiral wrap on the rod blank that you can see kind of showing out in the sun here, and it's wrapped in a dual helix pattern. It's actual carbon thread wrapped from the butt of the rod all the way through the tip. And what this carbon thread is made up over 6,000 strands of carbon fiber. So in addition to the 24-ton carbon blank, this outside wrap of carbon thread helps improve the hoop strength, but also increases the lifting power, and we're able to make the thinner blank, but also much stronger. In addition, with this ribbing on the outside, a blank usually have ribs that are usually sanded off. When you sand those ribs off, the rod becomes weaker. With this outside carbon dual helix design, we can actually keep the ribbing underneath there, so it helps retain a lot of that strength, and an angler will never actually see or feel it. So it's another advantage for this dual helix design. The other thing that we've done with these rod blanks to really make them stand apart from anything else out there in the market is in the tip design. The tip has what we call as UFR, Unidirectional Fiber Reinforcement. And where most rods in the tip, the fibers are actually wrapped in a spiral pattern up in the tip section. In this rod, the fibers actually run longitudinal along the rod. So what that does is when you're loaded up on a fish or you're casting, the fibers being long direction are actually distributing the pressures over a longer area, a longer spot, and what that does is makes it much stronger. And the rod tip has over 3 times the lifting power of a traditional rod tip. So a huge advantage in a saltwater rod like the SCT Boat Rods. The other thing that we've done in this series is that all the casting rods and spinning rods feature the Fuji K-Guide concept. And for those anglers that are familiar with the Fuji K-Guide concept, what it does is a frame at an angle. For guys fishing braided line, it helps reduce wind knots. And then the Fuji K-Guides have the alkanite insert, so also very compatible with braided line or monos. When you move down to the reel seats, depending on the model, we have, of course, medium, medium heavy, medium light, heavy, extra heavy rods. And depending on the rod, the lighter rods are going to use a Fuji style reel seat. The heavier models are going to utilize a machined aluminum Alps reel seat. We even have trolling models that utilize a full carbon butt section to really tie into that spiral wrap carbon technology in the blank. This utilizes 3K woven carbon, and the one problem when you're trolling, a lot of times when you hook up on a fish, the EVA in the butt section will pinch and it's hard to get it out of the rod holder. The hard material in the 3K woven carbon will slide out a lot easier, so you can get that rod out and get the fish to the boat a lot quicker. All the rods in the series, with the exception of the Jig Sticks, have an EVA foregrip with what we call slime control grooves. So they're really small grooves, so if you get a slimy fish like a barracuda, the slime might get in the grooves and it's not going to make it slippery when you're fighting the fish. When you get to our 8-foot Jig Sticks, we've got something that's extremely unique. I've never seen anything in the market like this. We're utilizing the 3K woven rear grip like we do on the trolling rod, but we also have a 3K woven foregrip. And then in the center, we're using shrink tube. We got a wide enough section so guys that like to position the reel with the reel clamp really low on the rod or very high on the rod, it gives that versatility. It's got enough range of movement. But once you actually fight the fish, you actually have a very light material with the carbon grips. If you get something slippery on there, it's going to clean off. You're going to have a very good grip. The carbon, once it gets wet, it actually becomes tackier. These rods, depending on the model, are going to start at $159.99 retail, and of course go up in range once you get into the trolling models. You can find more information at a local retailer, or you can check them out on okumafishing.com.